federal judge over the weekend that the president had appointed to the bench in his first term in office basically argued that he could not deploy other states' National Guards to Portland. Basically said that it was untethered, his argument, to what is actually happening on the ground. Which local officials in Portland have said that the National Guard is needed there?
With all due respect to that judge, I think her opinion is untethered in reality and in the law.
The White House has been blasting a federal judge who stepped in over the weekend and temporarily blocked President Trump from deploying any of the National Guard under his control into the state of Oregon, with Trump telling reporters that the judge should be ashamed of himself. The judge is actually a woman that President Trump appointed to the federal bench back in 2019 during his first term. But despite that, the White House press secretary went after Karen Immergut today, saying that she believes she's the one who's untethered to reality.
The president is using his authority as Commander-in-Chief, U.S. Code 12406, which clearly states that the president has the right to call up the National Guard in cases where he deems it's appropriate.
Now, the judge is saying that the president's claims don't line up with what's actually happening on the ground. That is what we heard from the Portland police chief himself when I interviewed him last week. And when I asked the press secretary if they could name any local officials in Oregon who have requested the help of the National Guard, she declined to do so.
Hello guys, welcome back to my social commentary. In a major legal setback for Trump's administration, a federal judge named Karen Immergut has issued a temporary ruling blocking the deployment of National Guard troops federalized by the Trump administration from entering Portland, Oregon. The federal judge's decision comes from a response and a lawsuit filed by the state of Oregon and the city officials, saying that Trump's plan overstepped constitutional boundaries and violates principles of using military for where domestic policing should be used without a clear cause. So guys, before we dive in straight into the video, if today is your first time of coming across this video, do well to subscribe to our channel. Tell us what you think about this particular video in the comment section, and please like and share the video to help the channel out.
Judge Karen Immergut is not playing with Dookie Booty. Last night, she held an emergency hearing so that she could block Dookie Booty from trying to send any troops into Portland, because his punk ass was trying to get some troops from Cali to send out there to Oregon, and then turn around and Greg Abbott's bitch ass thought he was going to send some troops from Texas into Portland, and she shut all that shit down. She said, y'all got me fucked up. I told your ass yesterday you can't send no motherfucking Portland troops into the city. Why the fuck would you think you could send Cali or Texas troops out there? And Greg Abbott, oh, I got you, Dookie Booty. No, Hot Wheels, sit your stupid ass down. Oh, I mean, you already sitting down. But shut your stupid ass up. You can't send no motherfucking troops into Portland, bitch. You ain't nobody. The judge said ain't no troops going into Portland. And just so y'all know, that's Karen with the I. It makes a difference. It's Karen with the I. Yeah, that Karen don't play. She said, y'all heard what the fuck I said. I don't know why the fuck y'all thought y'all could go around me. That's a direct contradiction to what I just fucking said. If I say you can't send Portland's National Guard into Portland, why the fuck would you think you could send Cali's National Guard or Texas National Guard? But it's temporary, y'all. This is a temporary order. Hopefully she make it permanent. At least we got judges that's not playing, and they standing 10 toes down on what the fuck they said and doubling down just to make sure motherfuckers know they not playing. So give it up for Judge Karen Immergut, because she not fucking playing with Dookie Booty.
Berlin, 1930. It's getting really bad here in Berlin, 1939. I don't know whether you've seen it, but we've got resistance fighters out on the streets trying to save the Jews.
It's getting really bad in Portland. I don't know if you're watching it, but as of about an hour ago, it was, they mean business. They're not playing around anymore. Like, game's over. Antifa, like, they're done with you.
Hands up. Anyone who remembers a time when being an anti-fascist, being against fascism, was the default setting for a decent human being. Hands up anyone who remembers a time when being on the opposite side to Schmittler was a good thing. Hands up anyone who remembers a time when being fascist was an underground movement that most people had driven out of them because it was a despicable thing to believe.
So I don't know if you have seen or if you keep up with it, but Antifa has pretty much took over all the streets there in Portland.
They haven't taken over the streets in Portland. They're trying to protect citizens from ICE on the streets of Portland? Do you see the distinction?
And the police have just surrendered those roads to them.
Now, I can't speak on behalf of the police in Portland, but what I can surmise is that the police probably have got sick of Trump's bullshit, of Trump trying to usurp them with the military for any reason whatsoever.
You ask, why would the police do that? Well, because they said they had no other option. They're no match for Antifa.
Now you're just talking crazy loco, lady. The police are no match for Antifa. What the f are you talking about? The police are armed up to the hilt. The police are following orders because a federal judge dictated that they had no right to perform what they're doing in Portland. A bold move, I'm sure you'll agree, when one judge who just denied Donald Trump's Department of Justice snatching data of 3.3 million people in South Carolina has had her fucking house go on flames, and that the fire department have said is definitely arse.
And that's what Antifa did, so that's what they're letting them do.
The fairy stories you people tell each other. Antifa are in charge. Oh my God, help us, Antifa. Antifa are stopping ICE agents illegally snatching people off the streets. Antifa are stopping people undertaking actions that a federal judge has said can't take place.
Leaving business owners trapped in their businesses.
Won't somebody please think of the business owners?
It's a hot mess.
These people who come online calling themselves a mom creator. I'm just a mom. I'm just an ordinary simple mom, which is what her fucking username sounds like. They come on with their sweet little accents, and I just don't know anything. I'm just spreading disinformation and misinformation. I'm just being an agent of fascism. Don't blame me. I'm just telling you what I heard. The game of whispers on the right is just shocking. It's like one person says, I know what will rile them up. I know what will get everyone against Antifa. I know what will help fascism thrive. These people should be ashamed of themselves, and I've said it before, but their names should be held. And when all of this is over, there should be a trial.
And you people wonder why in the world would we be sending people to take care of these cities? Somebody's got to do it.
Either too stupid to understand the control that Donald Trump's trying to put in place via martial law, or so manipulative that she's on board with the let's just spread misinformation.
Mayor is pathic.
What I find odd is that your accent doesn't sound like it's from anywhere near Portland, Oregon. In fact, it sounds like it's from the southern states, and yet you seem to have an awful lot of information about what's happening on the ground in Portland. It's almost like you're hearing it on a network and spreading misinformation.
The police department, they're scared to death. They don't even need to be police officers. They can't protect their law-abiding citizens. They can't protect them at all.
Oh my God, well if that's the case, who can we call on?
We need President Trump and ICE and military in Portland, Oregon. It is what it is.
In 1939 Germany, they would have been strapping on their boots and throwing up those salutes, because these people are getting exactly what they want: authoritarian rule under an ethno-Christian nationalist government. So when it comes to the end of all of this, remember these people's names and let's hold them to account, because they're not innocent little mom creators, they are agents of fascism.
So time to catch up on the National Guard games brought to you by the Republican administration. So after a federal judge delayed the deployment of Oregon National Guard to Portland, the GOP administration said, okay, we're going to take some from California, and then tried to do that and bring some in to do the same thing just from another state, and then tried to do the same thing from Texas. And there was an emergency hearing. The federal judge was talking to the federal attorney and said, what the fuck are you doing? Like, are you circumventing my orders? I said, we're delaying anything going in there. And so they delayed anything from going into Portland as far as a National Guard capacity. And there's a hearing set that's about 2 weeks, and there's a hearing set on the 17th. And then there may be a more permanent injunction. I believe it's like on the 28th. So these are games that the Republican administration are trying to play of, we want to do what we want, and we want you to stop stopping us. And so they're basically putting the courts through all of this bullshit, and the courts are standing up. And so when you think that he owns the military and the military would do whatever he wants, I always like to remind people, if that was the case, they would be in there right now and they would say, fuck the federal courts. And yet they're stopping, right? Like the law is stopping them. And, you know, throw a case, you know, of beer or wine at your favorite federal judge. This was a Trump appointee, by the way, who are stopping these dictator games, because that is what they're doing. And they're going to keep probing for weaknesses. They're going to try to see what they can get through. And this might be something that goes all the way to the Supreme Court and its emergency docket at some point. And then we'll see what happens there. But they're trying to play these games, and federal judges are stopping them from this bullshit, because there's no reason for individuals to be going into Portland. And the only reason that the current president thinks there is because Fox is pushing him 2020 footage from the BLM protests, right? Like, that's how easily manipulated this guy is they're pushing him footage all the time from 2020 instead of showing the most recent stuff, which is one block of territory that's not even in downtown, of them dangling donuts at these guys and in inflatable frog costumes. So this is how easily manipulated the current president is he's getting played by Fox News into deploying people, and Stephen Miller, into deploying troops and wasting $1 million a day to send people in there for bullshit. Okay. So that's where we are right now, is no National Guard troops into Portland for any of that. Chicago is still ongoing, and they have sued there to prevent that as well. So I'll do my best to keep you up to date. And just take a big deep breath. Do not go after the Guard. Do not go after the military. They don't want to be there. These are working people who have jobs. They don't want to get yanked around, at the whim of the Republican Party. Okay?
Guys, democracy is still working in full effect. A Trump-appointed federal judge blocked Trump's desire to send the National Guard into Portland, Oregon. Now, y'all's president and his people are going out front saying that Portland is war-ravaged, their quote, war-ravaged, and that they need to send the National Guard in to get everything under control, that there's rebellion and everything going on. And the plan was to send 200 of Portland's National Guard against the wishes of the governor into the city. Well, the U.S. District Judge, Karen Immergut, basically said, absolutely not, sir. There's nothing going on here that rises to the things that you're describing, and nothing about what you put in this brief are tethered to the facts. Portland Mayor Keith Wilson said essentially that this is a manufactured narrative and nothing about what's being described is actually going on in reality. And of course, y'all's president appealed it. So there's a temporary restraining order on sending the National Guard until the 18th of this month. And then it goes to an appeals court, I believe in San Francisco or something. So here we are, y'all, pushing back little by little. I mean, it's like AOC said, it's the perception of power, and it's the perception of inevitability that causes people to roll over in advance and surrender in advance and say, what's the point? I mean, I see it in the comment section every day, all day. Oh, what's the point? Oh, he's going to get away with it. Oh, what's the point? And, he's not going to follow the law. Anyway, you cannot surrender in advance. You use the tools at your disposal in the meantime, between time. And shout out once again to our federal court system, who is working overtime to push back against this regime.
Over the weekend, we saw a flurry of legal activity as a Trump-appointed federal district court judge blocked, at least for now, the Trump administration from federalizing National Guard troops and sending them to Portland, Oregon. The president claimed the authority to do so on a federal statute that allows the president to federalize National Guard service members if the president is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. Now, you may recall that this is the same statute under which Trump sent troops to Los Angeles. And although a district court judge in that case ruled that there was no basis to say that law enforcement was unable to execute the laws, the Ninth Circuit ultimately allowed the deployment, saying the president gets deference on security matters and that there had been enough violent protest activity in Los Angeles in the days prior to justify the president's order. But in this case, there had been no violent protest activity recently in Oregon, and so the judge said that even giving deference to the president, this order was completely unjustified and therefore violated both the statute and the 10th Amendment of the Constitution, which says that all rights not specifically given to the federal government must stay with the states. And so the judge issued an order blocking Trump from federalizing the Oregon National Guard on these grounds. So the Trump administration then turned around and tried to mobilize National Guard troops from other states on the basis that the judge's order only blocked deployment of Oregon troops, but not National Guard troops from other states. Now, the judge was clearly incensed at this blatant effort to defy her order and immediately called another hearing Sunday night and quickly issued another ruling widening her initial order to block the deployment of any National Guard troops to Portland. So we'll see what the Ninth Circuit says. Will it rule as it did with regard to LA, or will it see the facts in this case as distinguishable because no violent protest activity was occurring? We should know very soon. But for now, the deployment in Portland is blocked.
A judge's home went up in flames in South Carolina days after Trump and his allies called judges who rule against him traitors. You tell me if that's a coincidence. What do you think? So the house belonged to Circuit Court Judge Diane Goodstein. She'd ruled to block South Carolina from handing voter data to Trump's Justice Department. And since then, she'd been getting death threats. Over the weekend, her home burned to the ground. 3 of her family members were hospitalized. The state's law enforcement division is investigating the fire. Well, no official cause yet, but it's being treated as suspicious, as it should. Think about the timing. Trump and his advisor, Stephen Miller, have spent the past week calling judges traitors, agitators, and radical left lunatics. That kind of rhetoric doesn't just stay online, it spreads like wildfire, and now literally someone's home is gone. This isn't just one fire, it's a warning, because when political violence becomes normalized, when courts and journalists and public officials are targeted, democracy doesn't suddenly collapse overnight. It burns one house at a time. But what do you think?
Yo guys, welcome back. Thank you for watching the video. Karen Immergat, the federal judge, is a judge appointed by Trump during his first administration, and in her order, she rejected the Trump's administration justification that Portland is war-ravaged, stating that no evidence shows that the protest has escalated to the point or to the level of needing military intervention. So guys, thank you for watching the video, and like I said before, if today is your first time coming across this video, do well to subscribe to our channel. Tell us what you think about this particular video in the comment section so that more videos like this will pop up your screen. Like and share the video to help the channel out. You're welcome.